Before Black Panther or Fantastic Four, Michael B. Jordan made a little superhero movie that is unlike anything in the MCU. It's day 151 of 365, today's movie, Chronicle. I can't guarantee it'll give you superpowers, but you could discover a very cool movie club if you go to patreon.com/ticketstubmovieclub. That's where we do early releases of these videos, as well as monthly deep dives. My book lives there and a bunch of other stuff. You can go check that out today. This one's directed by Josh Trank and stars Michael B. Jordan, Alex Russell, and Dane DeHaan in what was the probably weirdest found footage movie that came out not only in 2012, but in the era of found footage movies. Nothing else came out like this. This is one of the few sci-fi found footage movies that were ever made. There was a time travel one, Project Almanac, which is not as good as this, and maybe a couple others sprinkled in there, but this is one that was taking something that was just starting to get popular at the time, superhero movies, and using the found footage format to talk about them. It was such an interesting pitch that I was obviously in, and showing up to theaters, I was absolutely floored by what I got. This is exactly the kind of movie that I was ready for. And if you check back in the list, we just talked about The Devil Inside, and I was kind of setting up the idea that there's a few found footage movies coming out across this year and into the coming years. And this was a genre that I was just invested in at the time. It was something that I wanted to make as well. So I was very stoked to go see this in theaters. Not only that, but this launched 3 careers. Not only Dane DeHaan and Michael B. Jordan as actors, but Josh Trank got a Fantastic Four movie right after this. It's not great. It's got a bunch of cool ideas in it. It will end up on this list. So if you want to check that out, make sure you subscribe or follow, depending on what platform you're watching from. But from there, revisiting this in 2025, I was kind of surprised at how really well this holds up. There's some dated aspects, sure, I'll give you that, but that's going to happen with any movie like this. And I think the stuff that really shines so much brighter that I was really impressed with how much I like this movie even in 2025. The found footage presentation is what prevents this from feeling like a Disney movie. Like the movie Zoom with Tim Allen has a similar idea, but the presentation there is so different than the presentation here, and something you could only get out of found footage. So let's jump into the 3 things that I really love about Chronicle. The first thing that I love about this movie is the found footage camera work. Now, this is something that was really unique to this movie. The main character becomes his own cameraman and allows us to take a more third-person approach to the overall movie. He's the one floating the camera around after basically the halfway point of the movie, and allows the movie to expand and feel bigger like a superhero film, so that by the time we get to that really massive ending in Seattle, it makes sense. He's the one operating the camera. He's really connected to showing his story and telling it through the lens of the camera. The camera's almost a character within the movie itself. I think that's really fucking smart. It keeps it from getting too lost in the weeds, but still big enough that by the end it feels like a giant superhero blockbuster movie. Unique camera work like that is something that I complimented in Man on a Ledge as well, but the fact that it's incorporated into the storytelling of the found footage here is really unique. You don't see that often. The second thing that I really dig about this movie is the absolutely bonkers wild move of them hiding the antagonist in plain sight among the protagonists. This is the kind of story that we hadn't seen before. This is very unique. So it wasn't easy to tell how they were going to get an antagonist. It was clear they needed one, right? You can't tell a superhero story without giving them an antagonist to go up against. Unbreakable even goes into that as like part of the actual like necessary lore for telling a story of this nature. But the fact that Dane DeHaan is playing our antagonist in plain sight, and they're giving him just a tragic backstory to lead up to the point where he is now the villain, and because he's been practicing, he's gonna be hard to fucking beat. It just works so well. There's also like a metatextual layer to the conversation around superheroes and men specifically who say if they got superpowers, they would become Homelander with them. That's like directly on display here, right? They're just showing, yeah, some guys would not know what to do with it. Some guys would try to do good with it. They would probably do things that they definitely shouldn't with it. But some guys would genuinely turn evil if given this much power. Even if it's understandable because of the tragedy, it's still the choice to turn bad. He's still lost in his own ego. And so that turn totally shocked me in the theater, and I forgot how well it played out when I was rewatching in 2025. I knew it was coming, and it felt real. Like, he's such a likable character up to that point, and so the turn feels understandable and just as tragic as his own past. The third and final thing I want to compliment about this movie is the progression of their powers. Half the fun of doing a found footage movie about guys learning that they have telekinesis is like letting the powers progress naturally. It starts small. They can move small objects, and like they explained in the movie, it's like a muscle. As they work it out more, they will get stronger and stronger. It can even get to the point where they can do it without even really thinking about it. But to get to that stage, they show us all of the stages in between. Most of the movie is made up of these really cool bits where they're incorporating CGI into found footage, which is, by the way, a very, very difficult thing to do. Tracking an object in 3D space with a shifting camera is next to impossible and very, very difficult to do. I actually tried it in one of my early short films for a 20-second segment, and it was next to impossible. It took us a full day just to render out that 20-second sequence, and it wasn't even good looking or blended. It was just getting everything to match. So I know how hard it is to do those sequences, and to just build your movie around that is deciding, hey, this is going to be hard, but it's going to be worth it, because for this to function as a found footage movie, it needs to look good and realistic. They incorporated practical with that CGI, and it's just chef's kiss. It has held up really, really well. But what do you think? Did you check out Chronicle when it came out? Are you a fan of found footage when they veer away from the horror side and go more into sci-fi? If so, this one's definitely worth checking out. We're going to keep with sci-fi, but go from low budget to absolutely the highest budget that Disney has ever cranked out at the time. We're talking about John Carter of Mars next, and as always, I'll see you tomorrow.